kids are built different, and for the longest time in our status quo, the only categorizing method or mechanism we have used is age. That's why, from the government side, we want to propose that this House will arrange students in classrooms based on their intelligence and academic performance rather than on their age. The problem within our motion today is that most kids are not receiving the most efficient quantity or quality of education, hence making these kids bored of school or bored of studying. However, we believe that study shows that age is simply the measurement used to signify how long a person has been living on this earth. It does not determine the quality of education a child has acquired. We believe we can make this bold statement because acquiring and nurturing a person's education is built on different types of aspects. Firstly, is their home environment, meaning their parent support or maybe their siblings. Secondly, is their interest and how much they're willing to practice towards a certain field of study. And lastly, is what they're gifted or what their talents have been ever since they were born. The mechanism we are wanting to use within this debate or within the system is that teachers will become more aware of the behaviors of their students. They will observe their maturity and academic performance and determine whether or not they're fit in a much more higher or lower class. The actors that will be affected within this debate can be split into three main actors: young students, older students, and lastly, the school board. How will this motion affect the younger students? We believe that studying for a long time is boring, and as a gifted child stuck competing with peers not to their level, it can result into them seeing studying as more of a chore when it is not a competition. We believe we can utilize and cultivate their gift and give them a chance to strive within their level and have a chance to graduate earlier. And what is the actual nature of young children? They're very curious, and once they find something repetitive, it becomes boring to them. Standard classes can have second grade reading students competing against fourth grade students doing making math questions. It becomes harder for educators to pay attention to each and every one of these students in order to cultivate and nurture their studying competence. How does this motion affect the older students? On the other hand, there's also a possibility for older students to be put below their standard classes if they do not meet the specified criteria within their classes or specified academic performance, may it be maturity or their work ethic. This will turn into a deterrence effect to ensure that they don't lag behind and have an added motivation so that they won't be stuck within the social stigma of being in an underclass as shameful. Now, how does this, and lastly, who is the last actor? That is the school board. Most schools acquire their good names by collecting awards and gaining funds. With this, we want to be able to recognize more talent in order for these school boards to send and make a name for these gifted students in order for them to be better humans in society when they graduate early on. How is it justified that we are able to make this bold claim whereas our status quo in the present has not been changed in a long time? We believe that academic performance and certain levels of intelligence will make it easier for teachers to educate, giving less thought into catering for certain students if they seem above or below the standards. We also want this to benefit the teachers in order for them to teach at their own pace and to teach according to what they've been assigned, not needing to pay attention to certain students when they're above or below the certain standards. Three main points that we believe the opposition will say as to why this motion cannot stand. Firstly, we believe the opposition will say that a child's process of education is not solely based on their intelligence alone. The age difference, along with their puberty, will come into play, making the environment in the class much more complicated. We are aware of the fact that puberty is something that students will one day experience. However, the government argues that the narrative of glorifying the changes puberty can make is already over-exaggerated. The most it can do is change a person's voice or physical appearance and maybe sometimes hormones. something we believe and are confident that these students are aware enough and will treat these changes in a mature manner when they are put into the classes according to what their academic performance is rather than their age. We also believe that the opposition will state it will become an unhealthy environment when a 10th because they believe that when a 10th grader is placed within a 12th grade class, seniority is bound to happen, and the seniority they believe will become into bullying. Government will argue that we have to stop viewing children as heartless and cruel. Bullying in any sort of situation is unavoidable, but when classes are separated by academic performance and maturity, that comes along, we believe the possibility will be much lesser. Not only that, we also believe that the opposition will say it will become a stump within the social within their social environment towards these younger students or older students. We recognize from the opposite we from the government team, we recognize the concern of certain kids being alienated or isolated if they're moved up or down a class. However, this phenomena will happen regardless when a child is gifted or when a child is falling behind. But because if this happens in each and every scenario, we believe that at least by putting them in their same level, they can somehow adapt, even if they're different in age. What are a few benefits we found in our motion today? We believe that with younger people graduating, higher position jobs will have a chance to be seated by someone younger and more aware of their environment and mindset of the next generation. And what would happen if this motion is not applied? We believe students or older students will be graduating much more easier simply because the teachers are allowing them because they are deemed old enough, when in reality they're not ready to face society and being mature or even taking care of themselves. We also believe that if this motion is not applied, gifted students will be prolonged and be stuck within schools, potentially making them bored, potentially taking or stripping away their strive to learn more, to study more, and to compete in what field of study they like. So what is our ideal situation, and what are the points we want to glorify? We believe we can make a more efficient curriculum, producing higher quality graduates, a more fun and competitive environment for students to study, and for students to be able to prepare themselves for the world. The social stigma of someone being lagged behind a class is already bad enough. However, we believe that by having this motion, at the very least, it becomes a motivation for these students to at least not get themselves lag behind when they are able and when they are capable of doing something about it. And when it is inevitable, they just have to accept it. And also we also believe that this will improve the social circle and improve certain students social circle by giving them a more chance to interact with people at the same mindset or the same competence as they are. And that is why we are so proud to propose this motion.